My goodness! This is probably Ardwick, and I'm back from the 9th dimension. Today, we are playing a game called Vernal Edge. It's an indie game produced by Hello Penguin Team, consisting of HyMyNameIsMatt and plus W+. For those of you who may be familiar with the name HyMyNameIsMatt, for those of you who have watched the Minecraft Madness series from a little while ago, he was from Fractured Madness. He appeared as the Matt Dr. Hivemind / Homunculus, who sold gravel in gold-laden stores, and I think he turned other people into him. In addition to doing all those wonderful things, he is also a talented game designer. And so, he and his team have put together a game called Vernal Edge. Let's see what's so vernal about this edge. Well, we've made it, but as I predicted, we're almost completely out of fuel. Took long enough. Where's the growth catalyst? I'm not sure. It should be somewhere in that building, but perhaps it's best to... Alright, I'm going in. It's like talking to a brick wall with you. Okay, Vernal Edge. So, I've seen a couple of ways that this game is described. I think Metroidvania is one way to do it. And I'm not entirely familiar with those games. I don't play them too often, so I do admit I'm a little bit out of practice and needed to take a little bit of time before recording this to actually figure out how to play this game properly. But I believe you are playing a character named Vernal, and that is their boat in the background. I assume it is called Edge until I know otherwise. Getting a little bit of training, although there will be some minor tutorial stuff along the way soon. There's a lot of ways to fight in this game. It looks like close quarters, magic, and I'll be going over those a little bit more in the video as we progress. You're a very agile character. You can sort of dash in the air and, fly and float and fling these characters around all over the place. By characters, I mean enemies, and by enemies, I mean wooden training dummies. Ev. What in the world is our companion? Well, in any case, we are here to find something called a growth catalyst. As you will be seeing, the art style in this game is really good. The pixel-like art in this game is fantastic work. I'll be going to that a little bit more. Here's a little bit of combat. First of all, close quarters, magic, and sword fighting. Like I said, I'm not terrifically good at Metroidvania-style games, so it took me a little bit to get used to the controls. Not because the controls aren't tight and concise, but because it's not usually the kind of game that I play. I think a lot of the games that I play tend to be a little bit slower paced, like Minecraft or Animal Crossing or thereabouts. So you'll have to bear with me while I try to figure this out. If you ever see me start to panic and fling magic around like it doesn't make any sense, that's because I am legitimately panicking. Poise. Blue orbs over enemies' heads. Sometimes you can knock enemies over, it seems, but other times you can't, until you knock those glass orbs over their heads into oblivion. Then you can knock them down like this and get in a few more hits. There we go. And a little magic, what I think is a magic geyser. I'm not entirely certain what this is. But it's pretty and it's useful, so we'll take it. Oh, hello. I didn't expect to see someone else here. What brings you to this ruin? I'm after the growth catalyst. How did you know where it is? See that door behind me? There it is. However, this is locked by 3 keystones throughout the facility. Perhaps we can help each other find them. Sure. I have to make sure I get it before this guy. I'm sorry I was going through that somewhat quickly. This is actually a post-production video. I was not recording this live. I tried to do a few runs where I recorded this live, and when I did, my runs were embarrassing and I died many, many times. But don't you worry, this run will have plenty of death in it. It'll probably just be loaded near the end. So if you want to see me die a lot, you have come to the right place. See, that is a save point that we just ran into. Hit one of those, you get fully healed. It's blocked by these thick vines. Right, so there are 3 keystones we need to find in this ruins. And they are located throughout them in different places, and it'll be a bit of an adventure for us to get them all. Of course, my jumping abilities bode very well in this adventure. Oh, geez, these guys. So let's talk about the enemies for a minute. They appear to be... I want to say they're either clay or they're made out of wood. Clearly magical in nature. I'm not entirely certain what's going on here. But all we know is that they stand in our way, and we will not be having that. No, no, sir. Fortunately, we're able to hook onto these, they look like nails or hooks in the wall. It looks like something goes in this slot. Yes, inside of the valve. Junk. Garbage! Hey, what's this? It's herbicide. Well, we know exactly where to put that inside of the red valve. There we go. Or rather, attaching it to the pipe system, or... I'm not entirely certain, but it does the trick. There we go. And that unlocks our way over to the blue section of this ruins. Right, so I do have to say really briefly that I really appreciate the sprite work in this. It's really gorgeous and atmospheric. Like, look at those buildings floating up there in the sky. What is going on there? I mean, one look at that right away and you can tell that this is a world that is brimming with some kind of interesting and unexplained history. Ah! And I will never know, because that is, because my destiny is to head towards the core of the, sky, I guess we'll call that. And as we ascend, sometimes I've noticed that it's better to fight or to run away from enemies, because enemies occasionally drop health, I've noticed. But they don't seem to drop anything like money or items, or at least from as far as I've experienced so far. So, you know, weigh the cost of whether or not you are willing to spend the health points, potentially, to get through these situations, or if you just want to keep pressing onwards. There's no time limit, thankfully. I will say that. I really appreciate that there isn't one. So long as you can manage your health limit, you'll be good. And I take a moment to decide whether or not this guy is worth fighting. This very noisy, chirpy, stick or clay creature. Ah, I'm surprised to see you here, in all honesty. That scaffolding was practically crumbling beneath me. At any rate, the roof looks pretty unstable itself. We should be careful about how we approach it. Coward. Our character is very intense. Aha! The first of 3 keystones belongs to us. Or perhaps these folks. Alright, these enemies can be kind of scary when they're in a group like this. You'll see very shortly what I mean. Yeah, on their own, they're not terribly bad, but when they gather up against you, they're quite scary. And again, I do have to apologize, because watching me play back this video, I'm not the best at handling the way I use my magic. See, it's almost gone already, and I haven't made good use of it. So again, I do apologize. In situations like this, I sometimes panic. And then I get hurt, and I lose my magic, and then I die. My face gets separated from my body along with the rest of me. Yeah, there we go. But as long as you have just one, they're a lot easier to manage. And my magic is back. Fortunately, it regenerates over time, so long as you don't use it too much, you're pretty good. But my health doesn't, and that doesn't regenerate, so that's why you gotta be careful. They're a little bit tricky. I was figuring out a way to try to kite it down, but honestly, your character is so agile and so mobile that you're just as easily enough going up there and getting them. There we go. And because they stopped existing, so did the bridge. And there we go, just like that, the first of 3 sections of this ruins are complete. Now we have to find the other keystones. Gosh, I really like those flip animations that this character has. Vernal. She is super good at that. It's rather stunning to see how much work into it. Another mandatory fight. Ah! So you can probably see here, if you get hit and knocked down, like you can stun the enemies, but they can also stun you. And when they do, you have to press A to get out of it, or you get stuck. And that can be pretty disorienting when you're in a fight. And I think that's on purpose, because these fights feel very visceral and high stakes. There we go. What in the world is that? It's like a cockroach man, but also made out of wood or clay or string. There are monsters in this world. What are you doing just standing here? Here, looking for a place to rest. I'm fine. Suit yourself. There we are. Our character is very intense. They have this, like, completely serious stare when they talk to people. I suppose it reflects the way the game is, too. Very focused and direct. You're always moving towards your goal, sword in hand. Even when you're talking to people. It's a very focused character. And I'm sure that there's a really interesting story reason as to why they're doing that. I've looked into it a little bit, but I don't want to say too much, because frankly, I don't actually know too much. Okay, here is a timer puzzle. So in addition to being good at fighting, you also have to be able to move fast in this game, too. This one took me a few tries, because I actually didn't notice those spikes in the wall for a little while. It took me some time to actually notice that they were there. So you really got to pay attention to your environment in order to actually move across this map. Of course, it could have also told me that, and I just didn't notice, unfortunately, so if that's the case, that is entirely my fault. Aha! Fortunately, there are a lot of good item drops in this game. Or by item drops, I mean treasure chests that give you some good health potions and mana potions. The health ones I tend to find a lot more useful because mana regenerates. Really, unless I'm in a battle situation where I'm not... Ow! Where I'm... Yeah, let's just undo that real quick. And let's just get away from him. We don't have to fight every fight. Again, you have to determine whether or not you want to deal with the health cost. Of course, you could also be a better fighter, but that ain't me. I'm doing my best, though. I swear I am. There we are. Right, so that's already 2 of those keystones. We just need 1 more. And I have a hankering that's down below. Red. Okay, there we go. So blue, red, and purple. That's a fun combination. And unfortunately, some fights are very mandatory. I say unfortunately not because I don't like fighting, but because they are quite dangerous. Like I said, visceral. They want your blood. Or, actually, I'm not entirely certain what they want. Are they defending their land? Are they mindless zombies? Are they a military of their own? There's a lot of unanswered questions in this world, and I kind of like it that way. A lot of mystery to discover. But first and foremost, the combat is rather tight. Oh, jeez, those things. Those creep me out. I guess all these enemies creep me out. Between some kind of ant termite creature and what appears to be a flying keychain with wings. I hadn't mentioned this before, but I believe we are actually in the sky. Like, none of this is the ground. Like, I guess we were in a castle and it all flew up or something. That's about as much as I understand is going on, and I could be wrong. Like, that intro that we saw at the beginning is about as much as players gonna get with this demo. There we go. I just didn't feel like waiting for the mana to regenerate. Oh boy, this thing. Oh, these are terrifying. If you don't keep your wits about you, they will... Oh yeah. Look how far that flung me across the room. If you let them get the upper hand, they will annihilate your soul. Ah, yep, there we go. I guess with these guys, you really have to determine how defensive or offensive you want to be, because, yeah, that would have killed me. Or, no, okay, now I'm going to be killed if I let myself get sloppy one more time. Ugh, sigh of relief. Yep, I'm just gonna undo that real quick. Again, sorry that I seem to keep throwing magic around willy-nilly like that. Like I said, I'm not entirely too accommodated to the magic controls. I believe it's tied to a single button, and then the direction in which you're holding your control stick or, you know, your key if you're using a keyboard will determine what kind of magic comes out of your repertoire. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, or if I'm just pushing the wrong button, I'll suddenly burst magic out of my soul and it'll go flying into the room. So if you suddenly see me do that, that's because I'm either panicking or because I have butterfingers. Gosh, I really like the music of this game. It really adds like a sense of weight and importance to what you're doing. Let's see, here we go. Yeah, there are 3 different legs of this journey, and I find that this one here in the dark is probably the most difficult, or at the very least it's the longest of them. A little bit less combat focused, but certainly a little bit more platforming intensive. Let's see. Nope, that's death. We go to the Eve zone, which means that we are super dead. I wonder why the letters there say Eve. I think it's Vernal Edge. Oh my goodness. I'm a fool. I read it as Eve. Yeah, there we go. There's a better use of the way that I've been using magic, or that I'm trying to use magic. As long as you keep getting combo opportunities on them, they're really not too dangerous. You can kind of lock them into place. It's when you deal with multiple enemies that it becomes a problem. And we know that wiggling valves can only mean good things. Okay, to any engineers who may be watching this, if you were to see a valve wiggling like that on a machine, what would your reaction be? Would you know that things are going just correctly, or would you assume that you need to hit the deck? Well, that's this ruin's problems now, not ours. There we go. Aha! So, in these ruins, you also get a new magic ability. So we'll just go ahead and assign that to our buttons here. Oh yes, I don't think I've really been into the pause menu that much. You can go to your items, you can check your key items, you can check your spells, you can reassign them to different buttons. There we go. Spire. Alright, that's a new ability. I'm just going to warn you straight up, I'm not really good at utilizing it. Mostly just because in the heat of the moment I tend to panic. So we'll probably see that a few more times before our adventure in these scary ruins are over. Yeah, I guess we are in the sky. Because there's nowhere to fall but down. As opposed to the other directions that you fall when you're not in the sky. Oh, that's useful. Spring Root. I believe that actually fully heals you and gives you all of your mana back. So I'm sure that'll come in useful later. As far as I can tell, there's only one of those in the game. Whoop! Hoo-hooey! Adventure extraordinaire! Ardwick, that's me! The reason I'm putting them there in the top section of the inventory is because I believe you can access them through the hotbar. Whoops! Through the hotbar there on the bottom right corner. You can cycle through them, depending on your control scheme, and then use the items, which would be very useful in the heat of a combat moment. Alright, I'll get the hang of this. There we go. That's health, by the way. I mean, you can probably already tell that, but that is health, and enemies occasionally drop that. But yeah, like I said, plenty of treasure chests scattered about, so you can feel relatively safe going into your adventure. As long as you manage your inventory pretty well, you shouldn't run into any trouble in terms of running out of important health supplies. And there are so many save points around that you really don't run the risk of, like, seriously losing progress if something bad happens to you. Aha! Here we go. I think that's all of the keystones. Time to head back to the entrance. Okay, so the dungeon's really basically almost complete at this point. So pretty straightforward. Well, I guess kind of straightforward. It tests your timing abilities with the timer and, your combat abilities and how well you can maneuver about. So, all in all, I suppose I'd say this is a pretty good tutorial-style area. Aha, mana potion. Alright, and that's more or less it. We're going to cut ahead to when we get back up to the hub area. If you follow the route that I was taking there, you'll just as easily be able to return back. Music not being there means something bad's about to go down. What? How did you get... Oh! Oh! That son of a... No way is he getting that stupid thing! We've been duped! We did all the hard work and now someone else is going to take all the glory. We cannot have that. Alright, well the music is telling us it's time to kick things into high gear, and so we shall. Oh no! Oh no! Well, okay, never mind. Screw that guy. We are getting out. When I was playing this for the first time, I actually was under the impression that I was being timed, even though I didn't see a timer, so I didn't want to deal with enemies that I didn't have to. But I did have time to double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. This room! Oh boy, this room. I was not ready for this room. I'm getting my everything kicked in by every living and non-living creature in this room. You can kind of tell here I was actually starting to panic because I'd stunned them and then didn't even realize I did it. In fact, my panic would be my undoing very soon. Come on. Ugh! Look how hard you fly after you get hit like that. And everyone, here is the death game over screen. I exploded into 1,000 pieces and was cursed for 1,000 years. Oh. Yep, and because I panicked, because I thought it was being timed, I did that again. Luckily, my thousands of pieces were able to recongregate after another 1,000 years, and everything was more or less the same, so we're going to keep going. Whoop. Okay. It's very generous of the runes to provide health after the death trap. This music is amazing. I wonder if there's a soundtrack that's already available now, or if we have to wait for the game to be released. Either way, I'd be very curious to hear it. Wait! Where are you going? Did you get the growth catalyst? That bastard. Like I said, brick wall. Alright, so we return to the Room of Doom, so that we may cause doom to occur to others. Like I said, whenever the music disappears, you know something's about to go down. So, without thinking about the fact that there was probably a save point nearby, I expended a potion. Yeah. A mana potion, no less. I guess that's not so bad because it regenerates anyway. But it's good to have it just in case I get ambushed by something else. Even though the music is, like, not exactly that style of tone at the moment. Give me the catalyst, now, or I will cut you down. As if I would ever be afraid of you. If you know what's good for you, you'll just walk away. I don't want to have to kill you. There's no way I'm letting some asshole from the church take it. The church? I came all the way from this baby is worth a small fortune with that. I'm so sorry. I'm going to give past me a very strict talking to when this is over. Oh boy! So it got possessed by, the growth catalyst, I guess? Is that what's happening? Okay, so this boss is terrifying. Yeah, look at my health compared to theirs, and look at the consequences of my actions. I was woefully underprepared for his abilities, and I'm about to be punished quite dearly for my actions. Yeah, here I am. This is my first attempt, and I'm absolutely panicking. Look at how much damage they do with just one swing, and how little damage I've made so far. Oh! I mean, we're good at comboing, but apparently so are they. And if you're not paying enough attention, that'll happen to you. This boss was very difficult. Well, because I'm not the best at these Metroidvania games, especially with a unique fighting style such as this, we're about to see what happens when somebody as unprepared as me keeps trying to do the same thing over and over and expects different results. Seriously, look at how much health that takes away! This boss is terrifying! Okay, I think this is the one where we actually accomplished something. This boss, if you pay enough attention to them, you'll eventually get a handle of their patterns. You just have to stay vigilant and stay away from that sword like what I'm not doing right there. And you actually have to use your magic responsibly, too. There's really a whole bunch of ways to handle this. That attack is no good if you're standing still, and I fell victim to that particular, like, cactus or cabbage demon attack way many times than I think I would care to admit. I mean, here, before I get a grip of the battle, I'm getting tossed around like a rag doll. And if you'll see my health there, I was behaving very irresponsibly. But I got just enough in to be able to stun them, so I could actually try to control the situation. That fruit that we got in the bottom of the dungeon turned out to be quite useful in the end. That being said, this boss is completely relentless. If this turns out to be what is ostensibly the first boss in the game, this game is going to be very difficult. Or at least very difficult for somebody as undisciplined as I am. Whoa! Okay, I thought that was an attack at first, but we're actually transitioning to a new environment. Or perhaps the same environment, but the building itself has been destroyed. Either way, we're in for the fight of our lives, but we are starting to get the upper hand on this fight. Especially if you get away from them when they do that uppercut, air cutter jump, like that Kirby-style sort of cutter move. If you can get away from that, you don't have to worry about dealing, you know, you're okay, because that boss, when they do that, at least in my opinion, they take away like a good fourth of your health, or at least it feels like it. And I don't want to be dealing with that and then trying to manage my inventory and get my magic or my health healed up when I'm panicking and fearing for my life. Fortunately, with enough confidence and some discipline, and a lot of pain, we can give him a good old bonk in the head, and there we go. Well, it sounds like I shattered their skull. Oh, you're back. Do you have the catalyst? Nah, it broke. It what? How in the world? Like I said, it broke. Now, let's please just get out of here. Don't you remember? We're out of fuel. Right. Well, I mean, that was a sail ship, so maybe you can go by wind power. In any case, that is Vernal Edge. That was a lot of fun. Please go check it out for yourself. And as you can see there's a Kickstarter that's still active. It's running for a couple more days, so if you want to contribute and help them achieve their stretch goals, you're welcome to give it a shot. I would highly encourage it. It's a lot of fun. All right, folks, this is Ardwick, currently going to retreat back to the 9th dimension. Wish me luck.